I built my startup and sold it. But what if everything you know about entrepreneurship is a lie? The freedom, the status, the story you have been told. It's clean on the outside, but really messy underneath. This video is not about how to build a startup, but rather it's about the parts of entrepreneurship that is rarely discussed, but everyone eventually runs into. Here's what you're going to see. Number one, why most startup success stories are built on invisible privilege and not just hustle. Number two, why failure isn't a lesson. It's a full body collapse that can ruin your life. Number three, why some of the most celebrated founders are also the best liars. Number four, why turning your passion into a business can kill the thing you really love. And finally, number five, how can you survive if you decide to build your startup anyways? So let's get started. Most founders didn't build from zero, they got a head start. We have been fed this fantasy that starts with nothing, but you end up building really big. But here's the truth. Bill Gates' mom sat on the board of IBM, and that helped Microsoft to land its first major deal. Zuckerberg, he had access to top-tier private schools, early coding mentorship, and Harvard's elite network. And Bezos, he got $250,000 check from his parent as angel investment before angel investing was cool. So we love stories that start in garages, but we ignore the fact that the garages were attached to mansions. That's not hustle, that's privilege. And it is still happening. In India, Zepto raised over $200 million while the founders were still in college. The media called them prodigies, but their families had ties to powerful networks, businesses, political, and all sorts of financial aids that made impossible to possible. That's the part that they don't put in TechCrunch headlines. The startup world isn't meritocracy. It's a system that rewards familiarity and not just innovation. And if you don't come from that system, you are not competing, you are surviving. What happens when you fail? If you are privileged, you pivot. You write a thread, you raise again. But if you're not privileged, you sink. You go back to the job you didn't want. You carry the silence and shame. Failure doesn't hurt the privileged, it resets them. It only ruins the people who were never allowed to fail in the first place. Before you start, ask yourself one thing. How many hits can I take before I can't recover? That number, that's your real runway. Not your cash, not your dream, your margin for pain. Because if you are smart, driven, and lucky enough to launch, what happens when things you build still fails apart? So let's talk about the kind of failure no one puts in their founder bio. Failure looks sexy on stage, but off camera, it looks like a debt, insomnia, and shame. Let's kill the myth right now. Failure isn't character building when you can't pay rent. Let me give you an example. A startup called Fast, the one checkout click solution that raised over $100 million. The founder bought Super Bowl ads, but couldn't prove product market fit. They went under overnight, and hundreds of them were laid off. No acquisition, no glory, just ghosted. Or take Quibi, a $1.75 billion juggernaut that collapsed in less than a year. All the talent in the world and still a flop. Quibi was all about good storytelling, some hype, and then silence. So here's the move. Don't build what you can't afford to fail. Test tiny, validate brutally. If you are going to fail, fall off a step stool, not a rooftop. The difference between failure and a lesson is who is allowed to keep trying. And that's not about mindset, that's about margin. But what if you don't fail? What if you win the hype game, get the checks, the press, the credibility? Well, there's a different kind of danger there too. Let's talk about the founders who didn't just fake the product, they faked the whole persona. Before we continue, if you're still watching, you're not here for surface level startup tips. You are here to learn about real shit, the stuff no one tells you on LinkedIn. I make videos like this to say the things that most people are too scared to say out loud. Because I have been there too. If this is hitting a little too real, like, comment, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but for your own clarity. And if you know someone who is building something really cool, share them this video. Don't wait for them to burn out before they hear this. Being a founder is so easy these days. Just lie with confidence, name your startup after a Greek god, and say AI powered every third sentence. But let's be real, some founders aren't building business, they are building stories. and they get rewarded for it as well. Until the story collapses. Charlie Javis, founder of Frank, a startup that claimed to help students apply for financial aid. She even managed to sell it to JP Morgan for $175 million, except she allegedly faked millions of user accounts, like literally invented people in a spreadsheet.
Charlie Javis sold her startup company called Frank to JP Morgan Chase back in 2021. At the time, she claimed her company had millions of users. But after the deal went through, JP Morgan discovered that number was close to just 300,000, and Javis had fabricated most of the user information.
Charlie Javis has been found guilty at a fraud trial.
And it's not just the big ticket scams. Some solo founders inflate waitlists, buy testimonials, fabricate traction screenshots to raise small pre-seed from angel investors. But here's what no one says out loud. In this game, the best storyteller often wins, even if the product doesn't exist. So how do you spot these founders? Well, they often overuse words like disrupt, category definition, and hypergrowth. They post at 3 a.m. on LinkedIn as if they are allergic to sleep. They claim we are early, but we are profitable with no receipts. They call it pre-revenue, which is just a fancy way to say we believe in vibes over income. And that there is the problem. It works, at least for a while. And you, who is an honest startup builder, you start wondering if integrity is just a bad strategy. So here's the rule. Don't compete for illusion, compete on trust. The hype will collapse, but trust, it will compound. But even if you don't lie, even if you stay clean and build with your heart, there is still a cost. Because once your passion becomes a business, you might wake up and realize you don't even love it anymore. So let's talk about your passion. They say, turn your passion into your startup. Do what you love. Sounds beautiful at first, but maybe that's exactly what kills it. Here's what they don't tell you. Turning your passion into a business doesn't just change your schedule. It changes your relationship with the things you used to love. Your family, your friends, even the passion that you're pursuing. I have seen this personally happen again and again. You used to write because it cleared your head. Now you write for the click-through rates and ad revenues. Photographers who stop shooting for fun. Designers who haven't opened up a sketchbook in years. A barista who opened a cafe but hasn't made a cup of coffee in 6 months. But why? Well, you don't realize it at first. You think you are scaling your joy, but what you are really doing, you are putting your joy on a payroll. And soon, it stops paying back. Your passion didn't burn out. It got monetized, over-optimized, and drained. And you let it happen because everyone told you that this was the dream. But maybe it's not supposed to be. You have been hustling hard to make your startup work, but I think hustle sometimes is a scam. I have captured this in one of my old videos. The link is in the description or in the pinned comments or somewhere up there. Click it and watch it, and you will realize how hustle is sometimes a scam. Ask yourself this question if things are not working. Would you still do this if no one ever clapped for it again? If the answer is no, that's not passion, but rather performance. And even if you're okay with all of this, even if you make peace that detaching your identity from the thing you're building, there's one more twist. Because over time, the market doesn't just shape your product, it starts reshaping you. At first, you started by building something cool, something different. But somewhere along this journey, you started becoming just like everyone else. No one tells you when it happens. Even you don't realize that this has happened. It starts with little tweaks. It could be a tweak to your pitch deck. Just align the investor language. It could be a tweak to your landing page to match industry expectations. It can be a tweak to your roadmap, because that's what the competition is doing. Your decisions stop coming from your gut. They come from your fear of being left out. And before you know it, the thing you were building to stand out just becomes another optimized, perfect replica. And the worst part, it works. It works magically. Investors like it. The metric, they start growing up. People finally start calling you legit. But it doesn't feel like you anymore. You have lost the voice that made you dangerous, the flavor that made you original, and you have become just efficient. This happens across the board, no matter which country you are or which industry you're building. The solo founder who starts building something weird until they realize weird doesn't raise money. You didn't sell out. You just slowly started shaping yourself to fit into the market that never asked for you in the first place. So, the most dangerous kind of failure isn't loud, it's quiet. It's building something that succeeds by erasing you. And how will you figure out if you have become a clone? Ask yourself, if I erase the logo, would this still feel like mine? If not, pause. You don't need to pivot, you need to reconnect. Because if the startup game can distort your passion, reshape your identity, and reward the people faking it more than people who are actually building, what's the point? What's actually left to build that doesn't break you? So, you have seen the system, you have felt the pressure. So now the question is it still worth building? I think the answer is yes, but only if you're building from the right place. Not to prove something, not to go viral, and not to chase an exit you don't even want, but rather to reclaim time, to create leverage, to design a system that supports you instead of consuming you. That doesn't mean going small, it means going honest. Because you don't have to fake traction, sacrifice your identity, or worship the grind to matter. Here's what you really should be doing. Build for stability first before scale, before hiring, before distribution. Ask yourself, can this sustain me? Can it pay me fairly? Can it operate without me needing to micromanage everything? If the answer is no, you are building stress, not skill. Point number 2, protect your point of view. Don't outsource your soul to the market. Your voice is what people trust. If you lose that to trends, you are not building a business. You are just chasing algorithm. Point number 3, create a survivor fund. Set aside 12 to 18 months runway, not for your business, but for you. So if a toxic client doesn't show up, or if an investor tries to reshape your roadmap, you can walk away. That fund isn't about quitting. It is about building from a place of freedom and not fear. Point number 4, redefine what winning looks like. For someone, it's building unicorn. For others, it's 200 loyal customers and full creative control. There is no right answer, but if you don't define it, the market will. And you will wake up living someone else's dream. So you don't have to fake it to get funded. You don't have to lose yourself to build something meaningful. You just need to remember one thing. Startups don't define you. The way you build them does. If you really like this video, share it with one person who is building something right now. Not to scare them, but to show them it's possible to build without breaking. And if you are that person who is building and trying to figure out one hard day at a time, drop a comment below. Tell me what you are building and where you are stuck. And if I can help, I will. Because the world doesn't need more founder stories. It needs more honest ones.